Well, hello everyone and welcome to the 2023 season of the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. My name is Connery Maddock. I'll be your commentator for the entirety of this season. It was Attila Dinje who won the previous season after an absolutely fantastic finish at the Nürburgring in the grand finale, but everything has reset now as we head into a new season. First round at Spa-Francorchamps is coming up in just a couple of moments' time, but speaking of that previous season, let's have a look at what happened there. So here we go then. This is the first round, first race of the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. It's 3 wide through that corner as Trace tries to drive around the outside because he's got all of this going on ahead of him. He goes for the absolute send. They're down in towards the back straight chicane as Vitvote has the race lead now. He gets the pass done and maintain that race lead. Oh no, it allows Farkas to have an opportunity the long way around on the way down in towards Turabatas. It has the big send down the inside for Daniel for the race lead. Let's go his way. A big look to the inside. Door-to-door in towards turn number 9 now. The inside line will give Montgomery the advantage here. Well, hello everyone and welcome to the grand final.
Oh no! There's someone flying!
Careful, you want to get single file for the next corner here. Quickly through Latovsky.
And the inside line is... Oh, there's a little touch!
Side by side for the championship win down the hill from Attila Dinje. Dinje takes the race win. He is the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup champion in an incredible finish. Well, that was how things worked out in the previous season, but like I said, we are starting anew here in 2023 in the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup here on RaceRoom, of course. Let's have a look then at where we're going over the course of this season. We've got round number 1 here at Spa-Francorchamps. It says race 1. Well, actually, we'll get 2 races here in every single round of the season on the run-up to the grand finale. So we've got Spa-Francorchamps this week. Next up, we've got Motorland Aragón. We've got Dubai Autodrome and the Hungaroring to get over and done with before we head to the Nordschleife at the very back end of the season. So those are the circuits we're going to. Let's have a look at the competitors then. They're split across 3 different GT3s. We've got the Mercedes-AMG GT3, the Audi R8 GT3, and of course the Porsche GT3R as well. Those are the names that you'll be seeing over the course of this season, and you might see one notable exemption. It is, of course, Attila Dinje not going to be competing in this season, not going to be able to defend his championship. So no matter what, we are going to get a new champion of the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup at the very end of this season. So that's something to look forward to here today. Just have a little bit of a recap then on the timings. We've got ourselves underway, of course, here at, well, just about 7:15 Central European time. We're in a couple of minutes going to be heading our way in towards qualifying. Then we'll get our first race, 20 minutes. Then, of course, we'll get ourselves into race 2. Race 2 grid will, the grid of that will be based on the results of race 1, however, with the top 10 cars reversed. So there is a reverse grid here for race 2, which always adds a little bit of spice to these sorts of races, let me tell you that. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at Spa-Francorchamps. So let's have a look then at how to get around this famous Spa-Francorchamps in these GT3 machines. We are heading our way down in towards La Source, our turn number 1 for this particular event. Such a tight hairpin. There's going to be lots of side-by-side down into there, especially on the first lap. And you've also got to maximize your exit because you want to make sure you're carrying as much speed here down into the famous Eau Rouge and Radion. There may be occasions where drivers go too wide through here. It'll be very, very risky to do so. You got to maximize your exit coming off the top of Radion now because you have another big overtaking opportunity coming up down in towards Lacombe. Pick out your braking point, usually at the start of that curb on the left-hand side there. Just angle it in. Make sure you don't compromise your run through the second apex. Climb up all over the curbs there, just to make sure you're using them as much of the track limits as is possible. Now we have a look down the hill in towards Rivage, or Bruxelles is another name for it. Again, hug that white line, hug that curb all the way on the right-hand side there before you file yourself out. And now you get yourself into no-name corner, or rather the corner that does have a name now. It's Jackie Ick's corner. Again, use as much curb on exit as is possible. Now down in towards Pouhon, perhaps one of the most exciting corners in all of motorsports, through the first apex. Then you got to get yourself into the second apex with the car really not wanting to comply on the best of occasions since you're on the limit of the tyres grip through there. And now you head in towards Le Fon, which is a little bit of a fiddly section, if you ask me. It requires a very good flow through there. Otherwise, you're going to be losing a whole bunch of time. Now in towards the first Stavelo. You got to be careful on exit here. That gravel trap on the outside looks very, very inviting. But then you can just floor it all the way through Stavelo 2, and then you get a little bit of respite. But you know it's going to not last too long because you've got Blanchimont coming up, a very fast left-hander, and a particularly dangerous corner if you're in an active fight as well. Again, be careful of the track limits on the right-hand side there. They can be quite punishing. And now you hit the brakes into the heaviest braking zone on the lap, in towards the bus stop. Again, another massive overtaking opportunity at this circuit. And get the power down carefully as you drive yourself towards the line. So that was a lap there of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. I can't wait to see what happens in these particular races. And, well, we're not too long away from seeing how that's going to happen. Qualifying is underway for our first round of the season. Drivers have actually already completed their outlap, so they're on their first of their perhaps many flying laps here over the course of this 10 minutes session. Drivers just working their way down there in towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time in this particular session. We're currently looking at the driver, the German of Leonard Carton, trying to work his way around here for the moment. And actually we can have a little bit of a look in to see how Leonard is doing here at the moment. He did set one of the fastest times in practice, should be a very, very potent competitor here today if that trend continues on into this qualifying. Of course, Leonard was also one of the competitors that was always up there over the course of the previous season as well. So we're expecting some good performances from him, and he's not going to be the only one either. There's a good couple of names that are looking for their second try at this championship, so to speak. But let's have a look at the situation out there on circuit. Of course, no one has gotten themselves their lap times in just yet. It's a very, very long lap time here at Spa-Francorchamps, and it's also very, very important that you're going to have a little bit of a friend out there to work with in this open qualifying session, just so you have a benefit from the draft on these qualifying laps. Some drivers may have team allegiances that they already have coming into this, and that is an easy decision for them to make with regards to who to work with in these qualifying sessions. However, there may be privateer drivers that don't have any teammates in this series, so might have a little bit of a tougher time, and you have to make these sorts of temporary alliances out there on circuit. But we are starting to see the first couple of lap times head their way through. We got Ilya Drovosikov getting himself towards the very top of the order early on here. Julian Kunze there in second place, but as we watch Leonard Carton head his way towards the line, we spent a lap with him here at Spa. Let's see what position he's able to get as he heads his way through. It's a second place start for now for Leonard Carton. Of course, there's still time left on the clock for these drivers to do at least one more lap, if not two. Sometimes it can be a little question mark hanging over that with this particular sim and its qualifying sessions. There's Julian Kunze then in third place. He's currently, well, having a little bit of an on-track battle there with one of the Audis. Actually, he's able to set a purple Sector 1 despite the side-by-side moment there through Lacombe. So that's a very positive sign there for Julian Kunze as he continues on with his particular lap here. We've got, let's have a look at Ilya Dravosikov. He also made an improvement there in through Sector 1. The Swiss driver, so the second lap's looking just that little bit quicker perhaps than the first laps that they were able to put in. There's Yuval Rosen. If you're familiar with the NGK SPARK PLUG Esports Cup from last year, you'll know that he was one of the main competitors here in that one as well. So he is back for the 2023 season behind that virtual drivers by TX3 AMG Mercedes. Luciano Wittvoet, of course, no stranger to RaceRoom competition either. He's out there getting his qualifying effort done. Currently down in 7th place, about a second adrift of the top times here for the moment. So time still left there, out there on circuit for Wittvoet to try and improve his situation. Looks like Dravosikov has abandoned the lap there. That's why you don't see any sector times as he's heading his way out with the final corner now. So Dravosikov abandoning the lap. Julian Kunze seemingly continuing on here with that almost 0.2 of a second up in Sector 1, an improvement on his personal best in Sector 2 as well. So this is looking like a good lap as long as he hasn't been caught up in too much traffic. And in fact is using the traffic to his advantage in terms of a slipstream. Let's see what position he's able to get coming across the line. Was it a good Sector 3? It was a good Sector 3. So despite purple Sector 1 and Sector 3s though, he still remains in third place, about 0.2 of a second behind the current provisional pole position setting time by Ilya Dravosikov. Let's have a look at Sinyan Guinea there in P4 in the AMG Mercedes. There's a lot of Mercedes towards the very top of the order here in this one. Of course, the race stewards do try to work out a sensible balance of performance, but currently it is the Mercedes on top for now, with the top 4 positions all Mercedes. Now top 5 positions, all Mercedes, as Colin Blankenberg heads his way up in towards P5. We've got the Audi of Alessandro Botti there. That's currently the top placed Audi. And then you have to go all the way back to P17 to find the top placed Porsche. That's Lee Sabano. There down in 17th place. So it's a bit of a struggle here for the Porsches at the moment, it seems. Perhaps the car trap combo and the balance of performance not quite working out in their favor. We are getting in towards the closing moments of qualifying now. There is Ilya Dravosikov continuing on his, what would end up actually being his final lap here. We don't tend to get the completion, when the checker flag comes out here in these qualifying sessions in RaceRoom, we don't tend to be able to complete an entire extra lap here. And that's just the situation that they have to deal with. So it's likely going to be the last one for Ilya Dravosikov, unless he gets a little bit lucky. But it was slightly slow through Sector 2, not by much, but a noticeable amount, especially with a field this competitive as he heads his way through the final corner. Everyone else that's in sort of the top 5, top 6, top 7 positions have actually just abandoned their final laps here. They've taken the tow back to pit lane. But currently, we are still waiting for drivers to get themselves all sorted out. There's Alex Mosin, who has to take the tow back to the pit lane. He will not be continuing on. We've got Ville Cravey heading his way through the Lafonia, and he's not going to be on a lap here. So let's have a look at the standings then. At the end of qualifying, this is how the grid is going to be set for race number 1. So Ilya Dravosikov on pole position with Leonard Carton in P2. Julian Kunze P3, Sinyan Guinea in P4. Colin Blankenberg in P5 with Alessandro Botti P6. You have Alrosen P7, Steph Kramers, Nico Schinnel, and Marius Zabder rounding out the top 10. Wittvoet, Mosen, Lorenz, Berker, and Lapanek will round out the top 15 cars, and you can see the rest of them as the field strolls its way through here in this situation. Those last couple of runners, Christoph Nagy there down in P28, Jordakov and Viltrich rounding out the top 30 cars. So we're not really hanging around here. We are heading our way straight in towards the race session. Drivers getting themselves their grip precisions all sorted out. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on the various amounts of channels that we have going here. Of course, we're on the NGK SPARK PLUG's channel. We're also on the main RaceRoom YouTube. And, of course, we are on the Traction GG YouTube channel. And, of course, don't forget everyone over at Facebook as well on the RaceRoom channel there. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We got our race one just about to get itself started then. Everyone has gotten themselves all ready and raring to go. Red lights showing, drivers getting themselves prepared for that hard charge down in towards turn number 1. 20 minutes of racing here at Spa-Francorchamps has got itself underway. And it's Javosikov getting a good start from pole position. Leonard Carton in P2 with Julian Kunze. P3 looking around is outside here in the very early stages on lap number 1. They're not going to make it a drag race though down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Instead, Kunze is going to give him the bumper, is going to give him the push all the way down in towards that very famous section of circuit. There seems to have been a little bit of a problem there at the very back of the field involving a good couple of drivers. Renaud Herbingong, we've got Simon Guine, Daniel also all involved in that one. But let's have a look at the front of the field as they head their way down in towards Lecum then for the first time. Everyone all line astern. It's all pretty calm here at the very front of the field. Carton's got himself up into P2 with Kunze in 3rd place, Blankenberg in 4th here for the moment. And already it seems like we've got ourselves a bit of a 4-car breakaway at the very front of the field already. Rosen is being left behind. Same with Lorenz as well. Luciano Wittvoet in P7 here for the moment. But in terms of drivers that seem to have had a couple of problems early on, Ian Egan down in P32 at the moment. He's the last driver out there. We haven't had a retirement just yet. So everyone who has had problems towards the back of the field have been able to keep going. Here's Marius Zabder heading down the inside of Daniel Berker. Through Pouon. It's going to be not a lot of room on exit here. In fact, actually, they're giving plenty of room. So they'll continue the battle on the way down in towards Lafonia. Berker and Zabder still going side by side as they head their way into there. And it looks like Berker has just been able to slide his way ahead in that situation there. So that's going to be him continuing to press on forwards. He's got a fellow Audi a little bit further down the road in form of Alex Moisen that he now is tasked to try to lock onto the back of. It's having a look at the very front of the field. Once again, Javosikov continuing to lead them around on his way in towards the bus stop now, followed quite closely, in fact, by Leonard Carton. Kunze in that podium spot, as well as this 4-car breakaway continues to try to do its stuff. A little bit of a battle in the background, though. This is Maximilian Lorenz versus Luciano Wittvoet. It is the Porsche versus the Mercedes. And Lorenz has had an absolutely mega start here, given he's gotten that Porsche all the way up in towards P7. Whereas the rest of his Porsche contingent actually not too far away, to be fair. So Porsche's had a little bit of better time here in the early stages of the race than they were having in the qualifying session proper. So looking positive for them at the moment. Look at Steph Kramers all over the back of Lorenz as they head their way on towards the Kemmel Straight. Kramers dipping back inside the slipstream, seeing if he can get a run. But we've got a battle for the race lead on. We've got Javosikov putting on the defense. Back to the fellow AMG Mercedes. No way for Carton on the way through Lecum. And now down in towards Bruxelles, still no options. So that was the first shot for Leonard Carton. I wonder how many we'll get here inside of the 16.5 minutes that we have to run in this particular event. I do have to apologise, by the way. We're having a little bit of an issue on occasion with some of the car sounds. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be a thing that will be able to be fixed by the time we are done here today. So unfortunately, we will have to deal with that. We do apologise for it. So having a look towards the bottom end of the top 10 here. This is where we saw those battles be threatened. Maximilian Lorenz, Steph Kramers, Lucas Vollering, and Vili Krevi. A little bit of an error there from Kramers in towards the first apex of Lafania might allow Vollering and Krevi to apply the pressure to his rear end, but not going to be close enough to really capitalise on anything here just yet in the first round of competition. So here we go, down this straight towards Blanchimont. Krevi closing in, same with Vollering as well. None of which have a run down in towards the bus stop that they could actually use, so they're going to be staying line astern, although Kramers might have just outbroken himself there. He has to take the shortcut across the, oh no. He had to take the shortcut across the bus stop and rejoin in the circuit. And he's had a little bit of a half spin and has to attempt to try and get back going again, but he's been cycled down into P18 now P19 as he slots in behind the Swiss driver of Vertrix. So a very unfortunate incident there. Here we go. There's another little battle going on out on circuit. It's Daniel Burke once again versus Enzo Filipao, and looks like this one has been done already. Burke finding his way through on Filipao. So Burke is charging his way through the field, is the Austrian. Always a very capable contender is Burke. Now he's got Moisen down the field. Now he's got Lee Sabano as well, further down the road in the train as well. Another little look to the inside there for Moisen, excuse me, but he's been compromised a little bit in the run through the Fania. Burke was not able to capitalize on that one, and now he has to be looking in his wing mirrors because the Frenchman of Filipao is looking to try and come back at him. Is Marius Zabda, P15 here for the moment for the Polish driver. Currently up behind Filipao. Has a little bit of breathing room in behind as well, back to Nico Cernel. Both of these drivers, of course, competitors in last season as well. So let's see. Zabda's going for the move around the outside at the first apex of Lafania. Gifts him the inside for the second apex, and that's how it's done. A very competent pass there from Zabda. He's not quite done just yet because Filipao's going to try and come back at him, but Cernel stuck the nose down in the inside of the Frenchman there, and a little bit squirrely coming off the corner was that Porsche. Oh, that almost ended in tears, but they all kept pointed in the right direction. Filipao is going to continue to come under threat here, though, as Cernel's going to look towards the outside, and the pass actually helped negotiated there by Filipao. To wonder if he felt like he played a part in that, or he got a slowdown penalty for some reason. But looking further down the train, or further up the train, excuse me, that's Moisen Lee Sabano going wheel to wheel. Burke might be tempted to try and get himself involved in this one as well, but that's more of a last couple of lap thing, taking it 3 wide here at Spa-Francorchamps, not a halfway through the race thing. Moisen Sabano continuing to go wheel to wheel down the hill. It's a game of chicken on the way in towards Eau Rouge, but Burke thinks better of it. He slots in behind. This brings Burke back into play. 2 Audis versus a single Porsche in this situation. Burke's going to have the double toe down in towards the braking zone, is not going to nose to the inside to show any threat whatsoever. Gets the good drive through the corner, can't quite do anything with it though, can Burke. Run kind of stalled out through the middle of the corner. Porsche in the way. further up the field. Let's have a little bit of a recap of what's going on up here. We've got Dravosikov still leading, and in fact, he's been able to gap Leonard Carton here by about 0.8 of a second. So Carton previously was all over the back of the Swiss driver, but anymore. Dravosikov basically on the edge of breaking the slipstream now. Back to Carton, and as soon as he's able to do that and put in another couple of good clear air laps, then this race win might be signed, sealed and delivered already, but never say never. But that gap is now up over a second. Marginally. But this is not the situation that Carton would have wanted. He would have wanted to just maintain inside the slipstream of the race leader as long as possible, to be able to give himself the chance at taking the top step at the very end of the race. But it's starting to slip through his fingers slightly here. But all it requires is Dravosikov making a mistake here and there, and all of a sudden Carton's back in it. You can argue that Kunze gets himself back in it as well. So you can't get complacent when you're at the front of the field. So let's have a look then back at P17. That's Steph Kramers getting his way through on Jonas Gerhardt there. Very competent pass indeed, and now the move won't happen. Oh, there's a spinner in the background there. Didn't quite see who that one was. It might have been Ronald Sen, one of the Audis, the last placed Audi here at the moment. There he is. That's one to forget, a race to forget for Ronald Sen here at the moment, especially with a spin like that just about made the broadcast at the very back of shot. More action down the Kemmel Straight though. Filippo Zenner looking very threatening at this stage, but not able to do anything on the way down in towards the Cum. Alex Moysen continuing on his good run. Top 10 finish here at the moment with less than half the race to go. And this has gapped Filippo Zenner immediately. A little bit of a gaggle behind them though. Nico Sternal leads that particular train in the Porsche. Leip Sabano P13 in behind. And you got Daniel Burke, Mario Zabda. Those two have been stuck together like glue for all intents and purposes. There's Daniel Burke's Audi. We can actually get a look in on how he's doing behind the wheel of that Audi. Laser focused on the screen ahead of him. Trying to look for these runs, especially coming out of Stavolo, which will gift him the toe in towards Blanchimont, but you can see even just visually he's not close enough to do anything, even if he does get himself that continued momentum through Blanchimont, although there's a sign of life, but it doesn't come in the form of Burka going on the attack. It's actually Marius Zabda instead, looking for the position, looking for the line off the corner as well. Zabda got some good traction despite being offline slightly. Now he's going to look down towards the inside for turn number 1. Burka going to be holding on to that position. There wasn't really any sort of commitment there from Zabda. Yeah, we continue to apologise for the lack of car audio. Not sure what that one's about, but it's not something that we're going to be able to fix here. Unfortunately, oh, what's happened to Alex Moysen? Oh no, that's a big, big incident at a very far section of the circuit, at the very top of Eau Rouge Radion. You've got to be careful about the rejoin as well. Well, that is a very injured Audi getting itself off circuit, takes the toe back to the pit lane, and that is Alex Moysen out of race number 1. And this doesn't just affect race number 1 either. Remember, we've got our results from race 1 make the grid for race 2 with a top 10 reverse grid. So that means Alex Moysen not only has a poor result from race 1, he'll have to start from P31 in race 2. Absolutely tragic for the German there. Didn't quite see what happened, unfortunately. We're not going to be able to do replays here in this particular series, at least with the equipment that we have. So, The exact circumstances of that incident will remain a little bit of an unknown, but it's always scary when you see a car go off in such fashion at the very top of Eau Rouge Radion. It was a very, very big incident indeed. Look at this battle. Look at this train of cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. All for P18. Led by Florian Wurturk at the moment. Sinyan Gune in P19. Second car in line. Looks to have got himself a good run out of Stavlo 2, Curval Paul Frere. Pick and choose what name you want to call that corner. And now heading into Blanchimont. Next overtaking opportunity into the bus stop, of course. Going to be brave, going to be sending it on the brakes. Is Sinyan Gune? Yes, he is. The Turkish driver down the inside. There's a response from Wurturk, though, trying to get the up and under coming off the corner. Not going to find the speed required coming off of it, though. And now Sebastian Rih looking on the outside, looking in. Wurturk still has an overlap on the way down in towards La Source. 2 by 2 through the hairpin. Wurturk's trying to come back. 1/10 of a second ahead now as they head their way towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Sebastian Rih and Alessandro Botti are also going wheel to wheel, but they'll get themselves single file by the time they hit Eau Rouge and Radion. This battle's not done, though, between Wurturk and Gune. Guinea's going to have a monster run here down the Kemmel Straight. You can see immediately Wurturk deciding to go slightly defensive, taking middle of the road on the way in towards Lacombe. Guinea's going to try and commit on the brakes here, is he? Nope, not quite. But has Wurturk overcommitted himself? Yeah, he has overcommitted. He carries a little bit too much speed in towards the second apex. Now it's going to mess up his run through Malmedy as well. Guinea has a chance here on the way down in towards Bruxelles. Looking to the inside, there's an overlap. Hanging it on the inside there. Fantastic pass there from Sinyan Gune. That's how strong the inside is for Bruxelles. And now Wurturk has to be looking behind now because Botti's looking threatening. Same with Sebastian Rih as well. Have a look at Sebastian Rih. A little bit of an interesting perspective. Once again, it's great to see these drivers doing what they're doing in their sim rigs at home. Absolutely nose to tail here. P19, 20, 21, 22. How hard these guys have been fighting. Oh, there's someone off there. Driver off. Didn't quite see who that one was, unfortunately. I'm going to try it. There we go. Jonas Gerhardt. Jonas Gerhardt having a huge problem through Curva Paul Frere, and that is a very tired-looking Porsche. I wouldn't be surprised if his fate is the same as Alex Moysen's, and will take the toe back towards the pit lane, but he's going to continue to try and go at it here. Very wide out of Blanchimont, not exactly the racing line through there. And I would expect that Gerhardt's just going to pull that car down towards the pit lane. That is in no fit state to continue on out there racing. And that's exactly what he does, down on towards the pit lane. Have a look back towards the front of the field then. 3 minutes left to go here in the race. Julian Kunze on the back of P2 here at the moment. Carton have to be holding on to this one. Wasn't able to keep up with the pace of Dovrosikov. Now they're having to deal with a little bit of lap traffic, which is going to come at an unfortunate point for Kunze. Not able to take as much track exit as he would have liked to otherwise. Looking at Kunze once again, he's going to have a big task on his hands here. 2 minutes, well, over 2 minutes left to go. Half a second to try and catch. Definitely very possible, especially with how potent the slipstream he is here at Spa. To the back through the field, still a couple of battles going on. There's Leigh Sabanos and the driver of Steph Kramer's. Audi versus Porsche, and seems like the Porsche has been able to come out on top in this particular instance. Doing 2-minute 7s into 2-minute 17s in terms of lap times as the leader. The rest of the field in the 2-minute 19s, 2-minute 20s. So that will mean that coming across the line now, this will be the start of the final lap for Dravosikov with a very healthy 1.7 second advantage. Easily lost though, especially with a mistake. I'm not going to try and give him the curse of the commentator here. That would be very unsmart. It's a very consistent drive here from Dravosikov. Might net him the first race win of the season. Lucas Vollering, Villecrevi, also very close indeed. Meanwhile, further back through the fields, you've got continuing battles. You've got Sebastian Ree, Mikhail Lapanek getting himself involved in this one now. You've got Christian Orban on the outside of the picture. We've got Lapanek down the inside at La Source. Difficult to make that move stick because you're having to try and get yourself a run on the inside, coming out of La Source down a little bit of a straight on the way in towards Eau Rouge and Radion. So that allows the competitor on the outside to use as much track as they possibly can to try and prevent you from trying to get past. And that's exactly what Sebastian Ree has been able to do there in terms of maintaining that P17. Still defensive line though for Sebastian Ree. Lapanek was relatively close coming in towards the corner, but maybe getting inside his own head there. Le Sabano and Enzo Filipao. That's the other closest battle out there on circuit at the moment, P11. The battle for P2 has pretty much fizzled out at this stage. 1.3 seconds between Leonard Carton and Julian Kunze. But time has now expired. The confirmation that this lap is indeed the final lap. There's Dravosikov, 2.5 seconds over Leonard Carton. Hasn't really had many issues whatsoever here in race number 1. A very, very comfortable drive indeed. Bring it in towards the bus stop for the final time. We've got a couple of pending battles further down the order, but battles nowhere near Dravosikov as he heads his way out of the final corner. Drive to the line now. It's Ilya Dravosikov that takes the race 1 win here at Spa-Francorchamps in the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. Here on RaceRoom, Dravosikov takes it. Carton second place with Kunze in third. In terms of the battles we're waiting to see resolved, Steph Kramers versus Lissabano. That one's going to be, well, happening at a very late stage. There's Kramers heading his way down the inside. Oh, he's bullied the other driver out of line a little bit there. Clambering up over the curbs, and they get into a bit of a tangle coming out of the final corner. And Filipau's going to pick up 2 free positions in the Porsche, heading his way across the line there. Oh, that could have been so much neater. And there's a frustrated little hit from Sabano into the back of Steph Kramers there. Oh, that's a little controversial. Everyone else heading their way across the line there. Lapanek and the battle between Lapanek and Ree ended up with Ree coming out on top. Orban 19th place as well. A little drama here being injected into proceedings at the very end of race 1. But there's the race results, and of course things will be looked at after the race by the stewards if any penalties need to be applied. But it is Dravosikov taking the race win from Leonard Carton, from Julian Kunze, from Huvel Rusen. That's the situation there at the very front of the field. Then you've got Blankenberg in 5th place with Luciano Vitvo in 6th. Maximilian Lorenz in 7th place with following 8th. Villecrevi 9th with Filippo Zenna in P10. The rest of those positions cycling through on your screen right now. Of course, drivers having issues like Jonas Gerhardt, Alex Moysen, Christoph Nagy having issues as well. Let's have a recap of where we're at in the proceedings here today. We've just had race number 1 complete. We're going to be jumping straight in, and I mean straight in, to race number 2 here. And then, of course, we'll have our post-race show. We'll have a couple of interviews with our drivers. And then we will have to end proceedings for the day. But we're just getting ourselves prepared to jump into the race 2 session. Of course, we have a reverse grid to be concerned about here as well. So that is going to be a very big point of contention for these drivers. Dravosikov having to work his way through the fields from 10th place is going to be very, very interesting to see. So let's see if he can get himself overtaking mode engaged and get those positions done. But there will be a good couple of drivers ahead that will prefer to hold on to those positions as much as possible. We get no extension to the race length. It is still 20 minutes in terms of the race here today. We've got ourselves another 26 seconds of gridding time before we get all set for the second race of the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup here at Spa-Francorchamps. Here we go then. Everyone has been able to get themselves all ready. We're going to be off and away once again here in the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. It's Zenna on pole position thanks to the reverse grid. We are underway. A little bit of wheel spin for the Italian coming off the line. Villicrevi heading his way down in there as well. In second place, he's going to get dived down in on, though, Maximilian Lorenz with an aggressive move in the early stages. We've got a couple of penalties looking like they're going to be flying through as well for jump starts on that one. So that's going to be very interesting to see. So that will be a drive-through penalty for those that got penalized there. It wasn't on our screens for long enough to be able to tell who. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead, getting pretty spicy already. Villicrevi having himself a very good run down the Kemmel straight there. Zenna having to go very defensive early on. Lorenz is looking to make it 3 wide. He doesn't decide to follow through on it, though. Creavy, though, looking for the race lead, has the inside for the second apex, and now he has the race lead as Lorenz looking to try and pick up the pieces here. Zenna on the back foot slightly after that reverse grid pole position, down in towards Brussels. The threat is going to dissipate somewhat, but that was a pretty frantic start at the very front of the field. Uwe Rosen there in 4th place, trying to defend from Luciano Wittvoet, who got himself a good start here early on. We're not seeing the same separation really in the early stages on this first lap of the field, at the very front of the field at least, as we saw in race number 1. So with Luciano Wittvoet, he's sort of the last car in this sort of leading battle pack here for the moment. Oh, look at that. Lorenz and Rosen going wheel to wheel. We're going to get 3 wide through the Fonya somehow. And somehow these drivers are going to be able to make it work. Rosen's going to come out on top in all of that, by the way. 3rd place for the driver from Israel. And now we've got Wittvoet and Lorenz 4th and 5th. So things shuffling around here, and they might shuffle around more because Blankenberg's got a good run on Lorenz. Lorenz losing out a little bit in that one, as Wittvoet continuing on with his good run of form, at least in this particular event. But Blankenberg, is he going to go for a move here? There's signs of moves being made a bit further forward as well. Blankenberg's completely outbroke himself there, and causes a little bit of a palaver behind as drivers were trying to negotiate the positions just outside of the top 10. So it's a little bit of a swarm on. Oh, someone's going backwards. Someone's going backwards as we head our way in towards turn number 1 now. Yuval Rosen getting himself up into 2nd place with the absolute send. Down the inside at the source. Nothing Zenna could have done about that. And now Wittvoet has been able to file his way through as a result of that as well. So Zenna continuing to slide back through the order. Look at the run that Wittvoet had through Arouge and Radion, though. Rosen's going to come under threat here on the way down the Kemmel Straight. And while all of this has been happening, Villicrevi, the Finnish driver, has been running away at the front of the field. So the more these two fight, the more advantage that Crevi is going to have in hand, which will be very useful towards the end of this race, just in case we have a lot of the top runners file their way through. Wittvoet's attack was kept at bay by Yuval Rosen, though. Filippo Zenna now having to make that Porsche the widest Porsche you've ever seen, because it seems like he doesn't quite have the pace to run at the front here. However, he has one thing the rest of the drivers really don't have. It's track position. So as long as he can put up the good defense here, still would be on for a pretty good finish. Lorenzo doing everything in his power to make sure that that doesn't happen. And he's able to promote himself up into 4th place. Close in towards Lafania amongst these 4. Zenna, Lorenz, Blankenberg and Kunze. 3 Germans versus an Italian here in this one. Definitely Zenna outnumbered in terms of the countries taking part. Dravosikov is also slowly but surely working his way through, by the way, and Blankenberg, oh, he's made a bit of a mistake there on the outside of Pakova Paul Frey. You saw the car snap through the middle of the corner. Now Kunz is going to try and come at him. Half a car overlap, now a full car overlap on the way in towards Blanchimont. We're going to go wheel to wheel through here, are we? Well, they've been able to make it work with the help of Blankenberg lifting off majorly into there to make sure that they're able to get through unscathed. Now Dravosikov, our race 1 winner, looking to make an impact here, but oh, there's contact. Oh, and Kunz has been spun around in the middle of traffic. He has to reverse off the circuit and let everyone through. That one was a bit of a weird incident there. Continuing to look at Lorenz and Dravosikov now. Dravosikov, of course, like I said, race winner, race 1. On the edge of the top 5 now in the early stages of race 2. Positive run indeed for the Swiss driver. Now down the Kemmel Straight, Dravosikov's going to have a very, very good run indeed. Let's see if he's able to make this one work. Looking at the outside. Instead, Lorenz is going to have a look at Blankenberg instead. Blankenberg has done very well to get himself up into P4 there. Continuing to hammer home the points that he's definitely deserving of running at the very front there. Ilya Dravosikov, though, caught behind a little bit. Lorenz involved at the very on his nose. There's Ville Krevi. 1.5, 1.6 seconds ahead of it though here at the moment. It's a comfortable margin. He doesn't want to start to see that start to tumble though. That would spell big, big trouble. And if Wittbert's able to get in the slipstream here, that's going to make things even worse. Oh no, something's happened to Alex Moysen for the 2nd race in a row. Alex Moysen has to take the tow back to pit lane, and that seemed to have been a little bit of an instant through Pouon there. So an instant through Rouge Radion for the 1st race for Alex Moysen, and an instant through Pouon for the 2nd race. And that means he's going to finish, well, he's going to still be classified there down into P30. Which, yeah, is scoring no points, by the way, because our point scoring positions start from P21. So everyone outside of P21, 0 points in terms of finishing all the way back there. Cernal around the outside of Lapanek. Cernal very aggressive through the 2nd apex. Got to be careful with the contact through there, though. We've already seen how that can end in tears. Across the front straight. In towards La Source. Lapanek keeping himself ahead of Cernal for the moment, under an immense amount of pressure. Cernal's going to have a bit of a run down in towards Eau Rouge, but going to duck back in line. Meanwhile, side by side through Eau Rouge and Radion behind. Enzo Filipao, and oh, Enzo Filipao, big incident into the tyre barriers, back into traffic. Oh my word, it's as close as you like with those drivers still remaining on the circuit, coming through Eau Rouge Radion completely flat out. That could have ended in an absolutely massive incident. It was already a massive incident from Filipao's perspective, but it could have collected a good couple more cars. I think there needs to be a couple of trouser changes after this. And oh, there's more problems happening out on circuit there. Look at it's Enzo Filipao actually. Filipao's having problems. Christoph Nagy was around through Lecum as well. Now it'll turn into a battle for the last running position. Filipao adding insult to injury, sending it down the inside. There's the response down the inside from Nagy, but neither of them would have wanted to be in this position. Again, apologies about the lack of car sounds in this one. Interesting little issue that we've been dealing with. Unfortunately, we won't be able to fix it for you without jumping out of the session and losing a good amount of the race. So we would prefer to use as much of the race as possible and just have to deal with the car noise issue for the moment. Dravosikov, though, P9. So something must have happened over the last couple of moments that Javosikov has lost a couple of positions. He's down into P6 here at the moment, which is not ideal by any means whatsoever. And now he's going to look and try to improve that, though. Around the outside, so Filippo Zena not going to be successful. Doesn't get the drive out of the final corner required, though, either. So a chance down in towards La Source is looking unlikely, at least on this lap, as he head very quickly towards the halfway point. Running once again. Everyone kind of, at least towards the very front of the field, has kind of spread themselves out a little bit, giving themselves a little bit of respite, although that is a fantastic run through Eau Rouge Radion for Javosikov, and look at the speed he's able to carry coming down the Camel Straight now. This is looking very, very good indeed, and Javosikov might be able to get this position done now. Oh, Zena's going to really fight it, and fight it quite hard, but even that's not enough to keep the previous race winner at bay. We've got ourselves a little bit of an interesting situation happening in behind. Botti trying to hold on to position from Roland Sen, as Sen sends it down the inside at Bruxelles. I'll grab my coat, but he does gain the position. Comes out on top in the Audi versus Audi battle. Sebastian Rie, of course, he's currently trying to hold on to position from the driver of Julian Kunze. So Kunze versus Rie, the battle of the two Germans, heading their way through the Fonya. The Mercedes looking like it's going to come out on top here. Kunze headed his way through in a very comfortable fashion. Had to work for it, but in the end, clean through. We have car sounds on the onboards, we just don't have car sounds on the TV cameras, which is an interesting thing. But here's the behind look for Florian Wirtworth, as Marian Zabda looks to try to apply the pressure in this situation, looking for the alternate lines coming through the bus stop. There's the Audi, he might get himself a good run. Oh, there was a slight overlap just briefly, but Wirtworth was able to keep himself in a position that he's able to slot himself ahead and deny the run from the Audi behind. A defensive line being taken in towards La Source. It opens up the inside for Zabda, though, as he'll try and capitalize on that now. Will he try and maintain the overlap in towards Eau Rouge? That's the question. How brave are you? Well, falling in behind is Zabda here for the moment, looking to try and fight another day, especially with a decent run out of Radion. Now the Porsche looking under threat once again from the Audi. Having a very good run of speed down the Camel Straights. Looking to the inside now is Zabda, looking to try and improve position up into P11. Minor points, yes, but points all the same. Towards Bruxelles, there's another little look there from Zabda. He's found an opening on the inside, but it closes. Almost tags Vertrick all the way around, but still causes Vertrick to lose a couple of spots there. Loses a position to Zabda, Kunze, Rie, and it's now re-enabled that particular battle between those latter two. Scruffy stuff through Bruxelles that last time around. Diving down the inside is Kunze. That was a big authoritative move, a big authoritative look. It only ended up being. Less than 6.5 minutes left remaining here, deep into the second half of the race. This is race 2 of 2 here in the NGK SPARK PLUG Esports Cup at Spa-Francorchamps. We'll have 2 races per round. Let's have a look then at Julian Kunze. Let's see if he's able to get himself a good run around the outside. Not quite going to be able to make that one work. have a change of plan potentially down in towards the bus stop. Outside for the first apex. It works if you can stick it, but a lot of people can't. And that's even a lot of the top sim racers as well. It requires quite a fine touch to be able to make that one work. Down at the old pit straight once again. Radion having a look elsewhere. The gap for the race lead has come down by quite a significant margin. Villecrevi coming under threat at this very late stage of the race with 5 minutes left to go. You don't want to be losing time to P2 and having P2 in your slipstream, but there's the battle for P11 going on. Zabda and Kunze. Mercedes versus Audi through Malmedy. Kunze on the inside. Leaves the space, but is still able to keep himself ahead. Maureen Vutic looking aggressive as well. Sebastian Ree further back in line, and maybe looking to try and cause a bit of a problem. Have a look then further up the field. Let's see how Dravosikov is doing, shall we? On his onboard cam. This is the only way we can get engine noises, apparently. So there we go. Ilya Dravosikov, Swiss driver, race winner from race number 1 here, gets himself a very good run there over Maximilian Lorenz. But the run's going to stall out a little bit. That Porsche pulling a little bit better. And Dravosikov has to fall in behind. Maybe look for the best exit of Blanchimont and look for the move down the inside at the bus stop, but it's blocked off. Lorenz early with the defense. Dravosikov trying to get the big wide arc through the final corner to get the drive off, but not successful in this instance. Very little time left remaining now. We're having a look, continuing to keep an eye on this race lead battle, because this has gotten surprisingly close over the last couple of laps. There's a period in the middle of the race where Villecrevi had a 1.5 second gap and was looking quite comfortable. However, that gap has all been gobbled up by Yuval Rusin. He's been able to keep himself in contention. He's not given up, and look at what it's resulted in. A chance at the race win in the very, very late stages. Crevi, though, he's been in a very comfortable position all race, basically up until now. This is where it changes, because now he's getting a lot of pressure from behind. There he is. Through that double apex left-hander of Pouon. Such a fantastic corner, that. Probably one of my favorite corners in all of motorsports. Just an absolute roller coaster. In towards Lafagna. Rosen continuing to apply the pressure here at this stage. This is looking pretty scary if you're Villecrevi. There's the view from his rear, from his rear windshield, I suppose, of his rear wing and the competitor behind. Rosen's closing in. Rosen is getting there. Slipstream coming into playing a very, very important role. When they come across the line, it'll be 1 to go. Rosen committing to the outside. Rosen looking for the race lead in towards the bus stop here for the penultimate time in this race. And it looks like Rosen has been able to gain the race lead, but I don't think this battle is done quite just yet. Crevi will be wanting that back so much and will potentially have a chance at it. He'll have the slipstream down in towards Rouge Radion. He'll have the slipstream in towards Lacombe. Both, well, the latter of which are prime opportunity to try and get yourself back past. But look at the gap that Rosen's got already. Almost 4 tenths of a second, almost 5 tenths of a second, half a second, the gap. Cravey will gain back a little bit thanks to the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. But Rosen's driving like a man possessed at the moment. 4 tenths of a second onto the brakes, into the comb. And Rosen's looking very, very comfortable now. If he can continue on that clear air pace that he had, then he'll be able to gap Cravey no problem in this middle sector. And you can see Cravey's just falling further and further and further back. Maybe took a little bit too much out of the car early on. Didn't leave enough life in the tyres, perhaps, towards the very end of the race. And Rosen has very much capitalized on that situation. What is happening to Cravey here? He's losing time hand over fist. Does he have a fuel issue? Does he have damage? What's going on here? Because he's now lost P2 to Blankenberg. I'll have a look at the onboard to see how much lifting and coasting he's having to do. Not really any at all. A very weird situation there for Ville Cravey. Maybe he had a slowdown penalty that he had to serve. That could also be an issue, but I don't have that information immediately to hand, unfortunately. So that's the situation that Cravey has just had to deal with. He might have a look back on Blankenberg towards the bus stop here, but we do have to refocus our attention because it's the Israeli driver. It's Yuval Rosen heading his way in towards the bus stop for the final time. It's Yuval Rosen coming across the line to take the race 2 win here in the NGK SPARK PLUG's Esports Cup. It's Blankenberg that holds on to P2, and Cravey from P1 in the very late stages slides all the way back in towards P3. Battle for P9 going on. Sabano versus Kunze. Looks like Sabano is going to be able to come out on top in that one, unless Kunze has a drive to the line. And Kunze might have just gotten it. We'll have to check our official race results a little bit later on. Oh, there's been a bit of a problem, though, there through the final corner. Driver's having problems. That's Florian Verchuk. Oh, and he's made a hash of the rejoin as well. Has to try and get back going. No one coming, though. No one coming that he can affect, really. Across the line he goes, but Yuval Rosen taking the race win then in race 2. 2 different race winners here today. We had Dravosikov in race 1. We have Rosen in race 2. That's the situation there. We've got Blankenberg getting himself a podium with Ville Cravey getting himself a 3rd place finish when all is said and done here. There's the positions as they cycle their way back through the order. Main task this early on in the season, or rather for this entire season until the finale, is to finish inside the top 16 in terms of points. Because that top 16 in terms of points will be able to give you a slot into the final race of the season, into the grand final. But, of course, we are not quite done here just yet. We'll be able to get ourselves a little bit of an interview, a little bit of a discussion with a couple of the drivers here today. And we'll be able to maybe have a little bit of a chat. We'll speak with Yuval Rosen first. So we'll get Yuval into the commentary booth here. Yuval, that was a very intriguing race, at least from your perspective. Congratulations on the fantastic performance in terms of the race win. Just take me through it. Hello, Mr. Rosen.
Yes, sorry.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, yep.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I was just asking you, just take me through that second race, because of course you were able to benefit slightly from the reverse grid. You got yourself towards the very front of the field. You caught what was at one point like a 1.6 second gap to Cravey in the latter stages of the race. Just take me through that, because that was a very well deserved race win from you.
Thank you. So actually, the reverse grid brought me further back. I finished race one in P4 and I started P7. I think I progressed 2 positions at turn one, and then after the straight, I didn't mean to go to a move, but the guys ahead braked just way too early, so I managed to sneak up the inside of two other guys. And then I had a fight with Luciano Vitvit, and he actually got me back, and then he had a slowdown penalty, so I got him back. And then I just chased Villa until I took the lead.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic to see you pull off all those passes for position over the course of the race. This puts you in a pretty good position now, at least in terms of the early part of the season, where having a good start is so important because you don't want to be chasing positions and points later on. So, do you feel like you'll be able to repeat these performances over the next couple of rounds to try and secure yourself a slot in that grand final? It looks pretty good for you at the moment.
I think I can, like, even Spa is usually a track I'm not very good at all, but I don't know, like the BOP maybe made the cars a bit more stable, and I had some good practice, so I was able to get up to pace. So in other tracks, I actually feel even more confident.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much for joining me, Yuval. Fantastic race too.
Yep.
It was a decent race one as well, and we'll see you in the next round.
Yep.
Well, there we go. That was Yuval Rosen, and we will actually get the opportunity to speak to our race one winner as well, Ilya Dravosikov. Ilya, that's that race one. It seemed like you were in a universe of your own. You seemed very comfortable at the very front of the field. Do you come to the same opinion?
Yeah, I would say so, but I didn't think like guys like Leonard Cart would come so close. So big kudos to him for his amazing performance. Unfortunately, I had a contact with him in the second race. It was really wide and it got too narrow, and then he DNF'd, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm a bit sad that he couldn't, pursue the second race. It was a bad situation.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but sometimes that happens in racing. It's just the nature of the beast sometimes. But at least in terms of obviously you're happy with your race one performance. Are you happy with your race two performance though? Because it was a little bit hit and miss, especially with the little bits of content that you had.
Um, Second race was, I think, kind of controversial as well. On Rouge, in the slipstream, you lose a lot of downforce and you kind of understeer, and sometimes it leads to a slowdown penalty. The other time, it was. I think I also accidentally swerved to the left and made Gunai crash because someone was slow in front of me. So I kind of feel a bit bad of maybe being a cause of a retirement of at least one driver for sure for Gunai. I could have taken more attention, and it was a hard race. I think if it went well, I could have fought back to the lead and the win, but it's hard fighting. No one wants to give up the position, and it was actually quite fun. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it definitely looks quite fun out there, especially with everyone so close together and fighting for a position. Next race, we are heading to the circuit Motorland Aragon. So, opinions of the circuit for race two?
First, I have to see if I'm directly qualified, but if I'll get the time penalty, Aragon isn't my favorite circuit, and certainly others have a good chance to beat me there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if I can actually get in the top 4 there as easy as it would be in Spa.
Well, we will just have to wait and see, and I wish you the best of luck for it. Thank you very much for joining me, Ilya.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, and the next driver that we'll be able to have a little bit of a chat to will be Leonard Carton. So, Leonard, it's great to see you. It was a very interesting couple of races for you, and overall, are you happy with your performance, or do you think you could have done a little bit more?
Well, first of all, I'm hoping you can hear me well.
I can hear you very well. Hello.
If that's the case, yeah, overall, I'm definitely happy with my performance. I think in the first race, I didn't expect to be so close to Eli, especially since he was so far off the leaderboard. His 69, I believe, on the leaderboard was really, really impressive. So it was, yeah, overall, first one, in race one, I had a lot of fun trying to catch him. But in race two, I'm afraid I didn't quite leave enough space from the exit of a source, and then we sort of had a three-wide collision there. It was really unfortunate, something I'm definitely going to learn from. But yeah, I was hoping to replicate that performance in race two. Didn't work out, but in the end, it's all right.
Yeah, in the end, it is all right. I'm going to do something quite risky here, because it's always risky asking a driver this question. How do you feel the balance of performance went?
To be honest, I feel like I'm in the position to really make some like detailed judgments about that. I think the overall feeling was that the AMG was definitely the quickest. The question will be by which margin. It's always, in my opinion, pretty difficult to put in an exact times how much the BOP was really, how effective it was. I think the Porsche could have been a little quicker, or the Mercedes maybe just a little bit less quick. At the same time, though, I think I did quite some preparation, so not surprised that I was able to fight at the front. But Eli as well is a really quick driver, so it's always a compromise. Which drivers do you have in the quick cars? And it's a really difficult thing to do, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great seeing you guys race out there. Of course, the situation is, in terms of course, over these two races, the best four drivers after each round are qualified for the final, and then we have the top 16, and the rest of them also get through. So it's kind of a little bit of a weird situation there. Do you think you got it this race, or do you have to try and do the repeat elsewhere?
Honestly, I'm afraid I didn't quite make it this race. Like I said, I had the big crash from the exit of La Sorte. I had sort of like I don't know, maybe 180 kilometers per hour, and then straight into the wall, 90 degrees. I tried to continue after that, but the car just had loads of understeer, no balance at all anymore. So I'm afraid I didn't make it this race. I was planning on just doing this one race and then prepare only for the Nordschleife, the final. But it seems like I'm gonna try at the Hungaroring or in Dubai maybe again, and I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, the points just get completely reset for the final, so it's a straight-up fight. Whoever comes P1 is the winner. So that's why you can just do the first round and then get yourself qualified. But thank you very much for joining us, Leonard, and good luck in the rest of your sim racing endeavors.
Thank you so much, Connery. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you very much, Leonards. But that's going to be around about. We were going to have one interview, but we are running a little bit long in terms of the time here. So we will have to wrap things up there, unfortunately. We've just had the first race meeting of the NGK SPARK PLUG Esports Championship here on RaceRoom. Race 1, Race 2 in the bag, as far as we're concerned. But we'll have to see who comes out on top in terms of the standings once all the stewarding has been done and all the penalties have been applied, and we'll see what the rankings look like heading into that second round of competition. But with that, we will have to end. My name's been Connery Maddock. You've been joining me on whatever channel you're watching on, either on the Traction GG channel, on the NGK channel, or on the main RaceRoom channel. But until that round number 2, there on the 31st of January, we will have to say goodbye.